EIV News at 6. News on yet another mass shooting tragedy.
And later, new information about the man behind a deadly attack on Planned Parenthood.
Hello and welcome to this edition of EIV News at 6. I'm Sean Stackhouse.
And I'm Carri Bresnahan. We begin with tonight's top stories. A deadly shooting in California. Yesterday, 2 gunmen walked into a mental health facility in San Bernardino and opened fire. At least 14 people were killed and over 20 were injured in the attack. The 2 suspects, identified as husband and wife, were later killed in a gunfight with police. Another suspect with possible ties is currently in custody, but no motive has been established. America leads in the world's most frequent mass shootings.
New developments in the United States plan to stop ISIS. Defense Secretary Ash Carter has confirmed plans to boost U.S. military presence in Iraq and Syria. The military will create a U.S. force to assist Iraqi and Kurdish Peshmerga forces. A senior defense official estimated it would include around 200 personnel. The U.S. will also assist in training local rebels who are fighting against ISIS.
New reports that reveal the suspect in last week's Planned Parenthood shooting has targeted the agency before. The information comes from Robert Deere's ex-wife, who described an occasion in which Deere had previously vandalized a Planned Parenthood clinic over 20 years ago. Deere's ex-wife also stated that he was a violent man, and she is convinced that he specifically targeted the Colorado clinic last week.
A case of mistaken identity at Guantanamo Bay. Mustafa Adal al-Kawai Abdulaziz al-Shamiri has spent the past 13 years in prison for crimes he did not commit. The prison disclosed this in a new report saying that al-Shamiri's involvement in the 2000 bombing of the USS Cole was, quote, carried out by other known extremists with similar names. Hearings are currently underway for his release, with al-Shamiri expressing interest in returning to his family.
Tragic news out of Chicago. In October of last year, police officer Jason Van Dyke shot 17-year-old Laquan McDonald to death in Chicago. Only now 13 months later has the dashboard camera video of the incident been released. The public was told by police at the time of the shooting that McDonald was shot once after approaching the police officer with a knife. It is now confirmed that he has over 16 bullet wounds. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel has condemned both the murderer and the superintendent's handling of the case.
Obviously, in this case, Jason Van Dyke violated both the standards of professionalism that comes with being a police officer, but also basic moral standards that bind our community together. Jason Van Dyke will be judged in the court of law. That's exactly how it should be.
Van Dyke has been charged with murder, and Police Superintendent McCarthy has been fired.
A ban on gun violence research might be ending. Democrats in Congress are pushing for an end to the CDC funding, banning studies surrounding gun violence, which has been in place for nearly 20 years. Despite a greater push for a conversation about gun reform, very little research has actually been done on the gun violence issue due to this ban. House Democrats have announced they will move forward with the plans to repeal the ban in the coming months.
Texas is suing the United States government, and a refugee resettlement nonprofit suit argues that the government and nonprofit violated federal law by moving forward with plans to resettle 2 Syrian families in Dallas. While the families have yet to arrive, Texas argues that by not consulting with the state, both parties violated federal law. Texas Governor Greg Abbott previously announced a ban to Syrian refugees from entering the state.
A new look into the effects of industry on the environment. A new study shows exposure to emissions from coal-fired power plants over a long period of time is significantly more harmful to the heart than other forms of carbon pollution. According to the study, the risk of death from heart disease is 5 times higher for people who breathe in pollution from coal emissions than those who were exposed to other types of air pollution.
The CDC joins in the fight in Hawaii against an outbreak on dengue fever. Dengue fever is a mosquito-borne disease with flu-like symptoms. Since September, Hawaii has had over 100 cases of the illness. This week, the CDC sent employees to meet with the health officials and has brought special mosquito traps. Health officials also launched a campaign to raise awareness about this disease. The director of the CDC has confirmed that the danger to the public is low.
Laser pointers struck 4 aircrafts flying over Phoenix in what police described as a non-stop battle in the area. The The aircrafts were all headed towards the Phoenix Deer Valley Airport when pilots encountered a green laser. No injuries have been reported, but a police helicopter was dispatched to investigate. The incidents come a day after a Coast Guard helicopter on a training mission was forcibly grounded after a laser pointer struck the aircraft and temporarily blinded the pilot.
More news on ISIS. Iraqi fighters have a growing suspicion of the United States' relationship with the Islamic State. They claim to have seen videos showing U.S. helicopters airdropping weapons to Islamic militants. U.S. military officials call the charges too far-fetched to merit a response. Iraqi officials have complained that their task is hampered by what is perceived as a lackluster U.S. response to the threat posed by the Islamic State.
In Europe, McDonald's is under investigation for illegal tax deals. The European Commission will be announcing their investigation as soon as this week. McDonald's is said to have avoided €1 billion worth of taxes. The announcement comes amongst numerous investigations into American companies by the Euro Commission, including Apple.
Now with the latest in news from around the world, our international correspondent Swetha Amaresen.
Thanks, guys. The Paris Climate Change Conference ended in a grim morning. President Barack Obama warned Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday to avoid interference in the Syrian civil war. Obama said that Putin knew he would be endangering his nation by getting involved in the deadly conflict. Obama agrees with Putin that a peaceful political solution to the Syrian war is key, but believes President Bashar al-Assad must leave his position. A recent plane crash increased international tensions. A Russian warplane was shot down on November 24th while allegedly planning an attack on ISIS groups in Syria. Russian President Putin accused Turkey on Monday of downing the Russian plane to protect a private oil trade with ISIS. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan claimed the plane had been breaching Turkey's airspace. Erdogan claims that Russian planes have repeatedly invaded Turkish airspace and that the country had ignored previous warnings. Britain faces pressure in the face of an ISIS-related decision. Members of the British House of Commons voted yesterday to join the American and French airstrikes against ISIS in Syria. Prime Minister David Cameron begged lawmakers in Parliament to approve the attacks. Public British opinion on the matter is very conflicted, with a reported 48% of voters backing the airstrike mission. An Asian plane crash causes heated investigation. An AirAsia flight from Indonesia to Singapore crashed on December 28th, killing all 162 passengers. It was one of a string of aircraft disasters that occurred in Asia last year. The AirAsia plane crashed due to a system malfunction that had occurred 23 other times that year. Despite the technical failures, the pilot's response to the situation is what ultimately caused the plane to crash.
You had talked about this being the pilot's response being one of the issues behind this. Is this starting to become a trend in AirAsia flights?
Well, there have been a lot of weaknesses in the pilot training in AirAsia. In fact, they haven't been taught how to deal with upsets, which is when the plane is at an angle above 45 degrees.
Great, thank you.
That's all I have for international news. Back to you.
Coming up on EIV News at 6, a look at the top political stories of the day with political correspondent Rebecca Hankins.
And later, your market wrap-up with business correspondent Jack Schwartz.
Race. It has become what many consider to be a dirty word in modern society. Some say we live in a post-racial world, calling discrimination a thing of the past. Yet this bias lives on today, with racial tension remaining a driving force in the world around us. From the war on drugs to the AIDS epidemic and police brutality, many of our greatest social challenges can be traced back to prejudice, discrimination, and hatred. I'm Anthony Monzon, and today we look beyond the confines and constructs of contemporary culture to bring you our world's most eminent issues in focus.
back to EIV News at 6.
For the latest political news from across the country, here's our political correspondent, Rebecca Hankins.
Thanks, Sean. President Obama faces resistance from Republicans over climate change. At the UN Conference on Climate Change earlier this week, Obama made a push for a legally binding global agreement to help curb greenhouse gas emissions. But just hours later, the Republican-controlled House voted to block that effort. Obama has made it clear that he intends climate change reform to be a part of his legacy in office. Democrats have rejected a proposed Republican spending bill. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi met with Republicans Wednesday morning to discuss the spending bill deal from Republicans. The offer proposed scaling back environmental regulations and making it difficult for refugees to enter the country. House Republicans are still waiting for a counteroffer. The two parties must come to agreement before December 11 to avoid a government shutdown. The Secret Service appears to be in crisis. House investigators released a report earlier today exposing problems within the Secret Service. The report revealed half a dozen unreported security breaches in the past 2 years and criticizes the service's response to a White House shooting in 2011. It also shows that the agency's roster is at its lowest in a decade. A Secret Service spokesman says they will carefully assess the recommendations of the committee. And Republican candidates to attend a conference in a shadow of a mass shooting. All 14 of the Republican presidential contenders are in Washington tonight to speak in front of the Republican Jewish Coalition. The conference was originally to focus on foreign policy, but after yesterday's shooting in San Bernardino, violence and gun control may take precedence. The candidates are looking to appeal to the Republican Jewish Coalition, who want a candidate that intends to play an active role in the Middle East. That's all I have for you guys tonight. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Rebecca.
And now with the latest news in the business world, here's Jack Schwartz.
Thanks, guys. Starbucks is set to roll out a new feature, delivery. The coffee company is incorporating delivery into their mobile app with the help of popular delivery service Postmates. The feature is currently in the pilot stage at Seattle locations. However, there is a catch. The delivery service comes with a flat rate fee of $5.99, and that's before tip. While this may be a great way to order coffee for your entire study group or for a meeting, it may not be worth it for the individual cup of coffee you're already taking the time to grab on your way from place to place. And everyone's favorite streaming service Netflix made headlines yesterday, surpassing their all-time closing high. The stock hit $131.24 shortly before 11 a.m., with its best close occurring on August 6th at a price of $129.84. It was up about 3.8% to just over $130 in early afternoon trading, but retreated below $129 before closing. And news about the intersection of business and clean energy technology. Elon Musk, one of the world's leaders in the movement towards clean and sustainable energy, proposed a carbon tax this week while speaking to students at Sorbonne University on the sidelines of the Paris Climate Summit. Musk, the electric car and space tycoon, said that introducing a carbon tax in place of existing subsidies could result in a clean energy transition timeline of 15 to 20 years rather than the expected 40 to 50. And Musk also said Australia will be the first country to use his Powerwall technology, an interior lining for homes that contains a lithium-ion battery, due to having such a large percentage of homes with solar panels, aligning economic incentive for customers. And finally, here are today's closing numbers from the stock market. The Dow is trading down 1.43%, NASDAQ is down 1.67%, and S&P is trading down 1.43%. Oil is trading up 0.07%, and gas is up 0.32%. Japan's market is up 0.01%, while Hong Kong, London, and Germany are all trading down by 0.28%, 2.27%, and 3.58% respectively.
Now, Jack, you had brought up that oil is rising right now. Do you think that Musk's tax could change that?
Well, I think it's certainly one of his hopes. During his address to students, he did say, and I quote, "Fracking has elevated my concern about the carbon problem dramatically. I always thought the scarcity of oil would drive up the price. Unfortunately, some smart inventors, I wish they could have invented something else. The net result is the accessible oil and gas reserves are dramatically higher, maybe by a factor of 10, and that is crazy for the climate." So, with that being said, it's certainly clearly one of his goals with this new carbon tax, and hopefully it will pan out that way, but that's still something that only time is going to tell us. So, Sean and Gina, that's all the business news I have for you this week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jack.
Coming up on EIV News at 6, Ann Carroll joins us with the biggest sports headlines.
Have no place to go. Have no place to go. Darling, have no place to go. Have no place to go. Goodbye, baby.
Welcome back to EIV News at 6.
We now go to Ann Carroll with the biggest sports stories of the week.
Thanks, Sean. The price is right for the Red Sox. David Price, the left-handed pitcher from the Toronto Blue Jays, signed a 7-year, $217 million contract with Boston. This deal is the largest contract ever to be given by a pitcher in the MLB, as Price will be averaging $31 million a season. Price went 18-5 last year and is a 5-time All-Star. A 5-time NBA champ will be retiring after this season. Kobe Bryant will say goodbye to the game he has played for 20 seasons, all with the Los Angeles Lakers. In a personal poem in the Players Tribune, Bryant wrote a letter addressed to the game of basketball that said, "This season is all I have to give. My mind can handle the grind, but my body knows it's time to say goodbye." In NFL news, we went from 6 to 1. There's only one undefeated team left in the league. Cam Newton's Carolina Panthers sit at 11-0 after beating the struggling Dallas Cowboys. The Patriots fell to the Denver Broncos this past Sunday night in Denver, losing 30-24. With the loss, the Patriots also suffered a big blow to their offense when Rob Gronkowski was carted off the field in the fourth quarter. Gronkowski has been listed as week to week and is suffering from a sprained knee. And going along with the undefeated theme, the Golden State Warriors have not lost yet this season. The 20-0 Warriors are the first team in NBA history to have started off the season without a loss through 20 games. And in this short amount of time, Steph Curry has scored 102 three-pointers. The next closest player on the list is Paul George of the Pacers with 52. The Warriors will play Paul George's Pacers on Tuesday, but first they have a date with the Toronto Raptors and then the Brooklyn Nets on their journey to remain undefeated. And that's all for sports this week. Back to you, Gene and Sean.
Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg has added a new family member. Early last week, Zuckerberg's wife, Dr. Priscilla Chan, gave birth to the couple's first child. They announced the birth of their baby girl, Maxima Chan Zuckerberg, in a Facebook post. The couple also pledged to donate 99% of their Facebook stock, worth about $45 billion, to bettering the world for children everywhere.
The government of Turkey hates memes. Turkish doctor Bilcin Çiftçi from the Public Health Institution of Turkey has lost his job and been put on trial after sharing a meme comparing the Turkish president to Gollum from Lord of the Rings. The insulting the head of state is a crime punishable with jail time in Turkey. Çiftçi's lawyer argued that Gollum is not a villain and could be seen as the story's hero. The judge called for an expert panel to determine whether Çiftçi's defense is valid, with a group comprised of 2 academics, 2 behavioral scientists, and an expert in cinema.
News from a galaxy not so far, far away. In anticipation to the new Star Wars movie, a financial engineering professor at Washington University published an academic paper last Tuesday of galactic proportions. It reveals that destruction of both Death Stars would create a debt of over $500 quintillion, sending the universe into a depression so dark it rivals the Sith.
In Germany, zookeepers found a penguin dead of trauma outside its cage earlier this week. This death has been the latest in a list of unexplained events around the Dortmund Zoo. In August, 5 dwarf monkeys were stolen, and last month a sea lion died after taking a mysterious blow to its skull. Security personnel are now patrolling the zoo 24/7, and police are hoping that an ongoing autopsy will soon provide more evidence.
A winter storm is moving through the Midwest. Winter storm Delphi has been moving through the Midwest for the past 2 days. The storm has led to heavy snowfall in the high plains and school closings in 6 states. The storm is said to be responsible for 2 deadly car accidents in Minnesota. Winter storm Delphi is expected to continue into Illinois and Wisconsin.
Do you ever wonder why your Wi-Fi is so slow? Ofcom, United Kingdom communications regulator, has found the answer. They say that about 20% of poor Wi-Fi is caused by lights and electronic devices. Ofcom says even things like string lights, speakers, and lava lamps can affect the signal. Moving the router away from these sources of light is said to help with the connection, but there's still no word on why campus Wi-Fi is so terrible.
Justice in a story that caused a national outcry. A North Carolina woman has been charged with animal cruelty after posting a photo online of her dog with its mouth taped shut. Catherine Leminski recently posted a photo of her chocolate lab to Facebook. The charge carries a fine and possibly of 150 days in jail. Leminski is due in court on December 14th.
A Connecticut man who jumped the White House fence on Thanksgiving Day pled not guilty in federal court. Joseph Anthony Caputo, 22, was permitted to return to Connecticut to live with his mother under electronic monitoring pending a hearing set on January 12th. Caputo wrapped himself in an American flag before scaling the fence on Thanksgiving Day. If convicted, Caputo could face up to a year in prison.
When we come back, a look at this week ahead with our 5-day weather forecast.
Welcome to this season of College Kitchen. I'm your host, Amelia Fabiano.
And I'm Aaron Königsberg.
College Kitchen is a show where we're going to take you around Boston to show you all the hottest food spots.
Whether that is man food, which is your burgers, your bacon, your meat, all that grease, yes.
Or like Sweet Talk, where we'll show you sweet tooth lovers where to get your cake fix, your ice cream fix, all that good stuff.
We also have Wild Card, which is your ticket to food from all over the world.
Or if you're on a budget, like I know I am, we'll take you in the kitchen with Alyssa to show you how to make college food on a budget. So sit back,
relax,
and enjoy
College Kitchen.
Oh, hey guys, it's me, Christian, one of your very own Backyard Boston hosts. I swear there's another one around here somewhere. Maggie! Well, anyway, Boston's a great city to get around in, whether you're walking or taking the T. Holy Jesus!
Hey Christian, what
Hi,
a great
Maggie.
segue into our segment.
Maggie, we talked about this.
Watch us on the Emerson channel where we show you our segue around Boston.
I give up.
Welcome back to EIV News at 6.
We go now to our weather correspondent, Jimmy McInnes, with your forecast.
Thanks, Gina. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving holiday. We're getting ready to take on the end of the semester, and we've got some December weather that's quickly approaching. Although it has been very dreary these past few days here in Boston, the clouds and rain will be gone soon, and we'll finally be able to feel the sun on our faces once again. Today we felt winds reaching up to 30 miles per hour and moderately cloudy skies. The high was 48, but will drop down to 35 tonight. The skies will clear up a bit, but there's going to be some patches of dense fog. Tomorrow we're going to have mainly sunny skies and a high of 46 degrees. It's going to dip into the 30s at night though, so if you are planning on celebrating the first weekend of December, make sure you throw on an extra layer, maybe 2. Saturday will be a little warmer with temperatures starting at 48 degrees and dropping to 33 at night. The skies will be clear all day. Sunday is going to be gorgeous. The high will be 53 during the day and will be mostly sunny. The skies will remain clear into the evening, but the temperature will drop to around 36. The Pats play my Philadelphia Eagles at Gillette Stadium around 4:30, so make sure to layer up if you're heading to the game to watch them lose 2 in a row. Monday there will be sun and a few passing clouds. Winds will stay around 5 to 10 miles per hour and the high will linger in the 40s. At night the skies are going to clear up and the temperature will drop to 35. Wrapping up our 5-day forecast on Tuesday, there will be a mixture of sunshine and clouds. The high will be around 44 degrees and only drop until 40 at night. Late into the night, there's going to be a 30% chance of showers. And that's all I have for my forecast. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. That's all we have for you tonight. I'm Sean Stackhouse.
And I'm Gina Brazeo. Thank you for watching.